Yo, what is up? It is the Fantasy Bros. Today we're talking must-start players for Week 7. Before we start, though, we'd ask it if you guys could please subscribe. We really appreciate it. You've helped get us to 100 subscribers, so let's keep it going and get 100 more. All right, let's get to the must-start players, and let's start with the quarterback position. This week I have Dak Prescott. A very good matchup for Dak Prescott this week, going against the Detroit Lions, who are the second easiest matchup for quarterbacks. Have allowed the second most points. You could be a little iffy on starting him his first week back, but I'm giving you all the confidence that you can start him this week against the Detroit Lions. Their games have, this year scored a lot of points, and I think this is going to be one of those games. It's the second highest over-under of the week, and the Cowboys are tied for the highest implied point total on the week with 28. So there's going to be a lot of points going around this game, and I think Dak Prescott will get it done. He's a top 10 quarterback for me this week.
Yeah, I like that call. I agree with it. I think a lot of people might be nervous to start him with his first week back, but Detroit is the best matchup you could ask for because they'll probably put up points, but they also give up a lot of points. I think Dak might be out to prove something. A lot of talk on Twitter has been whether or not Cooper Rush should be the starter, which is crazy talk. Dak is clearly better, but he might be out to prove a point this week and show him that he deserves to be the starter. All right, so my quarterback start of the week is Tua. So this is his first game back after his injury, and he gets the Steelers, which, their secondary was absolutely eviscerated by injuries last week, and they still went and beat Tampa Bay, which surprised the heck out of me. So good win, Steelers. But this Dolphins offense, when Tua's at the helm, is averaging 28 points a game, which is like second highest in the NFL. When you have weapons like Tua or like Waddle, like Tyreek, it doesn't really take that special of a quarterback to get it to them. All you got to do is be accurate and let them do the rest. So I think Tua can do that against a secondary that's already given up 5 100-yard receivers on the season, and it's only been 6 games. So I'm starting, as long as he's a full go, I'm starting him with full confidence.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill is playing amazing even with a third stringer, so he's going to help out any quarterback, and Tua will get right back in there and get it done. All right, that's it for quarterbacks. Let's move on to running back must-starts this week. I'm going to kick it off with Kenneth Walker. He's done really well for you so far, and I'm saying keep him in the lineup. He's got a really good matchup this week. I think it's the 5th easiest for running backs, and this game is the highest over-under of the week, the Seattle Chargers game. We're going to have a few players from that game because there's going to be a lot of points to go around. Kenneth Walker has looked really good. He's looked honestly similar to Rashad Penny, and that's definitely not a knock. I like Kenneth Walker. This is going to be this should be a close, hopefully high-scoring game with a lot of points to go around, and I'm saying line up Kenneth Walker as a low-end RB1 this week.
Completely agree with that. My 2 running backs are both from the same game. They're going to be Ezekiel Elliot and Pollard. So like we mentioned with Dak, a lot of points should be scored in this game. Detroit gives up over 30 points per game, which should lead for scoring opportunities for both Zeke and Pollard. I would lean towards Zeke if you're looking for like a bona fide RB1, RB2 start. And then Pollard's going to be more of a higher end flex type range. So Zeke is more trustworthy, but I think both could be starts this week, just giving how many points could go around. The offense should be better with Dak coming back, and there should be scoring opportunities for both. And with Pollard, as we've seen throughout the year, he's able to break off a 50-yard run at any time, which he's done twice this year already in 6 weeks. So I'm playing them with confidence based on the matchup and the idea that the offense should be better with Dak.
Offense should be better. Really high scoring game, most likely. Favored by 7. I definitely think they can get it done this week, both of them. My other running back start of the week is Travis Etienne. Now, this is more of if you got a bye week, maybe you're plugging him to the RB2, or he's a flex option, so a little bit shallower of a play. But I would absolutely roll out Etienne if you've got the space in your lineup. The Giants matchup, although not great, it's not horrible. It's about middle of the pack. The Giants are in the rushing defense. Etienne, he has been splitting the load, although he has been getting a little bit more work as of recent. He's sort of got it done for fantasy, but he has not scored a touchdown on the year yet, and he continues to be the player with the most yards without scoring a touchdown. So this could easily be that week in a close game against the Giants. They're favored by 3. It should be a close one, and they're going to need him. And he's able to rip off big runs, and he could easily rip off a big touchdown. And so you want those kind of players in your lineup. So I'm lining up Travis Etienne.
Yep. So for receiver, I have both a deeper option and a shallow league option. So in normal settings, I would go Tyler Lockett. I know he's coming off a bad game, but I wouldn't let that discourage you from starting him. The Seahawks offense is still pretty explosive. Assuming Geno Smith doesn't turn into a pumpkin or anything, assume he keeps up his good play, Tyler Lockett should be in your lineup every single week. He is a roller coaster sometimes, so I would expect a down week every now and then, but he's just one of those players you leave in your lineup so you can take the big weeks as well. And for my deeper leagues, that's going to be Alec Pierce, receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, especially in full PPR, but I also like him in half PPR as well. He's been more involved in the past 4 weeks, increasing every single week, and routes run, targets, snap percentages, all of the above. So that's what you love to see, especially for rookies. The Colts finally won again, and they threw the ball 58 times. So maybe they stick with that. If they throw it 40-plus times, Alec Pierce should get at least 6 to 8 targets. He's having about 80 yards a game when he gets that many targets. So he's got a good floor, and the Tennessee Titans defense can't really cover receivers very well. So I think he has a chance to have a great game this week.
Yeah, like you said about Lockett, let's go back to that for a second. We love that matchup, and we're targeting that matchup. And I'm going to go straight back to that matchup for my first receiver, and that's Mike Williams. Mike Williams, the inevitable, boom or bust. So this week, I'm calling a boom game. It's looking like Keenan Allen isn't going to play. Josh Palmer is banged up. He could be limited or out in this game. So Mike Williams, in my opinion, is a pretty smash play and the highest over-under of the week. They're tied for the highest implied point total. There should be plenty of touchdowns to go around, and I think Mike Williams absolutely gets a touchdown or 2 in this game. I think you're putting Mike Williams in your lineup. So let's go to some other receivers I have, and that's Allen Lazard. He's got it done for fantasy, so you probably are playing him, but this is the matchup where he could go and have his best game of the year. He's playing against Washington's defense, who is the easiest matchup for receivers. They allow the most points to receivers. And although Aaron Rodgers has been struggling, I think he gets right in this game, and there's going to be a lot of points to go around. Allen Lazard could score a touchdown or 2, and I even think Romeo Doubs is a startable asset in this game. You could definitely line up Romeo Doubs. There should be a lot of passing going on. Aaron Rodgers gets it right, and so I would start Lazard or Doubs. And then another receiver that I'm lining up this week is Brandon Aiyuk. I actually think Brandon Aiyuk is a must start. I know he's probably been on your bench if you have him, and he probably just scored a bunch of points on your bench, and I'm saying you can go right back to him. I don't think that Brandon Aiyuk is an every week start by any stretch of the imagination, but this is a week where you can absolutely start him against the Kansas City Chiefs, in which the 49ers are very likely to be trailing. They're probably going to be playing catch-up, and that's what got Aiyuk the points last week, is that the 49ers were trailing by more points than they've trailed all year. They were trailing by 14 for the majority of the game. They had yet to trail by more than 7 up until that point. So if the 49ers get down by multiple scores, Brandon Aiyuk is going to be part of that game plan, and I think that he will get it done. I'd put him as like a low-end wide receiver 2 this week.
Agreed. I like that as well. Of course, Brandon Aiyuk was on your bench unless you played against me, because of course I played against him. Why wouldn't I? So for tight ends, my start of the week for tight end is going to be Robert Tonyan. We talked about him on our waiver wire show and gave some pretty good stats. He's increased in routes run the past 3 weeks in a row. He's increased in snap percentage the past 3 weeks in a row. With Randall Cobb out with injury, that's going to increase the likelihood that we see Robert Tonyan get more looks in the passing game. The Packers offense as a whole hasn't looked super explosive. They haven't been scoring like we thought they would. So that gives more dink and dunk chances to Robert Tonyan. And he's also probably, I think, other than Alan Lazard, he's their biggest receiver on the team. So he's always a red zone threat when they get inside the 20 because you always look for your big guys down in there. So I'm starting him with confidence, or as confident as you can for a tight end that's not married to Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce. So he's in actually a few of my lineups this week, and I'm actually okay with it. Yeah,
I like the Tonyan start this week. Like you said, any tight end is risky. That is not one of the elite ones, but this is absolutely one of the better tight end starts this week. I don't think it's a coincidence that the week Randall Cobb goes out that he sees a record high in snaps and targets. And with that kind of volume, he could get it done like he did last week, even without a touchdown. So that's a player that you're absolutely looking for. My tight end start this week is Gerald Everett. He has struggled for you. He got off to a hot start, and he struggled recently. So you may be looking for other options. But if there's not one of those smash options like Tonyan, like you mentioned, I would line up Gerald Everett this week. Similar to what I talked about earlier with Mike Williams, they are in probably a very high scoring game this week with Keenan probably not lining up and Palmer a little bit banged up. There should be a lot of passes this week by Justin Herbert, and I think that a good bit of those will go to Gerald Everett, and he could easily score a touchdown this week. So although he's been struggling, I think you can line up Gerald Everett. All right.
So that's the matchup to target.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Seahawks should be high scoring, should be fun. So definitely look out for that game. It should be a fun one to watch.
Yeah, we're targeting that game and the Cowboys-Lions. We always target those Lions games. So I think that does it. Is that all we got?
That's all for me.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. These have been our must-starts for Week 7. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Like the video, ring the bell. You know the drill. Anyways, we are the Fantasy Bros, and we are out.